Cut it off in 10 flat, drop it, pop it now. Mark Simpson got the tools, facts, ain't no stopping now. Bruce Lee in the house, yo, we spittin' stream sound. Tips and tactics, get your mind wrapped and get beat now. Just a quick 10, bring a beat, spit the heat. Podcast promos, make it roll, make it neat. Direct bookings, keep it money, keep it sweet. 90s vibe got me live on the street.
All right, you can tell I'm out of practice because that wasn't working. So hello, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hopefully you can hear this. Hopefully you can see this. Please do let me know if and when you do see this and if anybody is watching. So I've gone live for the first time in what feels like forever. I'm currently streaming this on the Facebook, currently streaming this on the LinkedIn, on the YouTube, on X, and I think even Instagram as well. So let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know if you're live or on the replay. But like I said, in this video, in the title of this video, today I was playing around and I was able to come up with a podcast from start to finish, to creation, to completion, to publishing and spreading it around in just 10 minutes. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this as well. And the reason why I wanted to do this is that I know there's a lot of people who get stuck in the analysis and procrastination. And I've always said this, procrastination is the killer of all good ideas. Now, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, who haven't got a clue who I am, my name is Mark Simpson, founder of a company called Boostly and a company called Outsourced. What I do is I educate hosts on how to get more bookings, and ideally those bookings will come directly. The reason why I'm good to talk about this is that 8 years ago now, I created a podcast called the Boostly Podcast. And over the course of the last, let's say 8 years, we've now done over 700 episodes. And this is the latest download numbers right here to over the last 30 days. So from May the 6th to June the 5th, we've had over 146,000 downloads. It is one of the top performing podcasts in our industry. And it's in top 0.45% of downloads over the whole world, which is great. And I'm a big fan of podcasts. I love them. I listen to them daily, and I'm always judging what to do next based on how I consume content, how I consume media. And there are a couple of podcasts that I absolutely love and are literally on my daily watches or daily listens. And those podcasts are Good Morning Hospitality. I love it when I see Will, Brandy, and Michael, and sometimes Jamie jumping on in America and talking about the latest things that are going on. And now with the European version with Leo and Rafi, Sarah and Damien, I love seeing that as well. So latest news and trends are ones that I personally adore. And the reason why I came onto this idea today wasn't so much because of what they're doing, but there's a new podcast that's come out and I'm going to show you that in a second. And I was able to replicate this in literally 10 minutes. And I hope that you are watching this can get some inspiration from this as well. Now, everything I'm going to show you is free. I don't have to pay any money for that. And what I'm going to show you is super simple to do. Now, what I would love if you are watching this, if you've ever thought about doing a podcast but have been stuck in analysis paralysis, let me know in the comments. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on replay, let me know what you want to do, but why you've not done it. So what you wanted to do, but why you've not done it. And I want to show you how simple it could be that could potentially knock down any of those potential barriers. So like I said, there's two podcasts that I listen to on a daily business at the moment. One of them is this one right here. So let me share my screen again. This is the Skift Daily. So Skift is probably one of the leading publications, I would say, in our industry. Every single day, they have a podcast within less than 5 to 8 minutes. And I tune into it when, on the way to the gym or just in the car, or, if I'm at the office and I've got a little bit spare time or I just want to put something in, I will listen to that. Now, this is a human that is reading this out, and all they are basically doing is they are going on the publications from the day before, so anything in the travel news, and they are literally reading them out. They don't give opinion. They don't give their versions of it. It's just literally reading it out. And the whole point of this is to drive people back to this website so that they'll get obviously all that good stuff that come with that. Now I was thinking, oh, that's good. And with the Boostly podcast, I was thinking it would be awesome if I could do a daily podcast where I'm talking about the news, but I know that I have not got the commitment to be able to do that. For me to be able to tune in live on the Boostly podcast and to replicate this. And then I discovered this. Now, this is a brand new-ish podcast by Perplexity, and it is a Discover Daily podcast. And the thing that got my attention with this, and I've been listening to it for the last sort of couple of days now, and this is where the inspiration hit today, is that this whole podcast is powered by AI. This whole podcast that you are looking at right now is powered by AI. And all I've realized with this is that it takes the latest news articles, and this is around AI, etc., and it is putting a script together. They give it to an AI bot. It is reading it out, and that is what I'm listening to. Now, if I just share my screen here, and fingers crossed, hopefully this works. It should hopefully do, but if not, you can just go and check it out yourself. If I click on this, you should be able to get a vibe of what it sounds like.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Discover Daily, the AI-generated podcast curated by Perplexity to satisfy your curiosity about the latest in tech, science, and culture.
So again, that is AI. Now that does sound quite lifelike. It sounds a little bit like David Attenborough-esque. It's a lovely, lovely voice, lovely sound. And I was listening to that thinking, well, this is exactly how I'm going to do a daily podcast. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to run a 30-day experiment. I wanted to be 5 days a week. Don't do weekends because weekends are for fun. But 5 days a week, have a daily podcast that is solely powered by AI, that will be less than 10 minutes, and that will cover the latest news topics. So that was the idea, literally the idea. I drove back from the gym, came into the room, came into the office where I am right now, and I put this plan. And this took me 10 minutes, okay? So what I did, first and foremost, is I got the transcription from this podcast. So I got the transcription from this podcast. First and foremost, that's the first thing that I did. Let me now show you the next thing that I did. I went over to ChatGPT. So in ChatGPT, as you can see here, look at the screen now. So again, make sure you look at the screen. I got the transcription, and all that I did is I typed in at the top, please read this. So this is the transcription from that podcast, from that Perplexity podcast. I asked for it to read this transcription of the episode. And then what I did is I said at the bottom is that I would like for you now to take this, but I want for you to change the title of the podcast to be the STR Daily. And I want for you to call my my AI script reader, I think it's Alex or something like that. And I said, what I want for you to do is I want for you to craft out a script, the podcast script. It has to be less than 10 minutes, and it's going to be about these topics. And I literally went onto Skift and I found one topic, and I went onto another publication, which is Focuswire, and I found a second topic, and I pasted it in to ChatGPT. And I said, right, what I want for you to do now is I want for you to create this script. And as you can see from my screen, come back into here, popped in the articles, and it is, if I come down a little bit more, boom, 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 boom. Again, it's giving me a lot here. It's giving me that script right there. Now, what I did is I copied this. I want to come back to here. I copied that script. I tied it up a little bit because, again, with AI, you don't just take everything verbatim. You got to do your own little bit of customization to make sure that it fully works. And I went over to a website that's called 11 Labs. So 11labs.io. So if I just sign in, go to the app, my screen now. Now, you should be able to see, not this. I want to go into Google Chrome. Brilliant. So this is 11 Labs. Now, this is text to speech. So I copied in, pasted in my copy of my podcast. I chose a voice, so you can listen to a couple of voices.
Allow the world to live as
But these are not normal.
logic will get.
What worries you masters you.
And then I just settled on Chris.
Okay, so you're not going to believe this, right?
And then what I did is I clicked on generate. Okay. Now it took about 2 minutes to do. Okay. Bearing in mind, 2 minutes in, and it did this. So I saved this. So I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to come into this, and I'm going to play you a preview now.
Okay, so you're not going to believe this, right?
No, not you. It played this.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of STR Daily, the podcast brought to you by Boostly. I'm your host, Alex, and today we've got a fantastic lineup of topics to dive into.
Now, how cool is that? Now, if you're listening to this live or on the replay, drop in a little comment and let me know what you think of that. So, a couple of minutes in, right? I've got my podcast. Okay, it's saved on an MP3. It's ready to go. So what you have to do now is you have to find something to distribute the actual podcast. Now, there was a free tool called Anchor. Anchor was one that the Boostly program used to be on for many years until I started working with Will and the Hospitality FM network. But Anchor has recently been bought and sort of, it's been sort of taken over by Spotify completely. And now it's called Spotify for Podcasters. So what I did is I went over to that platform. Again, a couple of clicks clicking around, wasn't too much, but managed to find it. And it's called, the domain is podcasters.spotify.com. Took me less than 1 minute to create my account. And then once you do have the account, it literally looks like this. So I created the STR Daily. It's kicked me out, obviously. And now once I had my STR Daily, I went into Canva, of all places, and I created the logo. So that's the logo that you see here. I uploaded the audio. And for these descriptions and everything that you see here, I just kept going back into my trusty ChatGPT. And I was doing this all on the same tab. Right, so all this tab that you can see here. Now I asked for it to design me an image. It didn't look very good. I said, right, use this as a guide. Again, wasn't very good. So I just went over to Canva and it created it for me. Then I asked for it to give me a description. Then I asked for it for an episode description. And I just kept on going and going and going. And it kept me giving all of these cool things. And again, this is still under 10 minutes long. The only time consuming part is that when I published the podcast, it then needed Spotify to do its job. So it took a couple of minutes to do this. And while I was waiting, I went over to Apple and I linked up Apple to Spotify. And then within minutes, it's published. So now it is available not only on Spotify, but it is also available over on Apple Podcasts as well. So right now you can go on and you can play it, you can download it, you can follow it, and you can also do the same on Spotify if you haven't got an Apple account.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of STR Daily.
So it's there, it's up, it's running, it's live. And from coming up with the idea, through the concept to the creation, it took 10 minutes. And that is as simple as it is to get a podcast up and running. Now, my goal with this is to do it every single day for 30 days, not Saturday and Sunday, obviously. And my other goal is to get this to be in the top 10 of the podcast downloads within the next week. So this is where I need your help. So what I need for you to do, if you are watching this with me, come over to your Apple and you can do it on your phone or you can do it on your computer. When you come over to here, you'll click on listen on Apple Podcasts and it will open it up. And when you do open it up, it'll come onto the podcast section and you'll see that there are two sections to click on. One is follow and then one is write a review. Now, from what I know to be true with the way that the podcast charts works, it pays a little bit of attention to the review, but it also pays a lot of attention to people that follow it. Okay, so If you go and do that for me over the course of the next week, that'll be massive. Let me know when you have done. Send me an email, mark@boost.co.uk, and I'll send you something cool in return. But the reason why I put this episode together was to show you how, in 2024, how easy it is to put something down. Now, if you're a host that is watching this, you're thinking, well, what has this got to do with me? Well, here's how you can do it. What you could do is you could go use ChatGPT, go onto TripAdvisor and find 5 of the top favorite restaurants in your local area where your business is. You could ask ChatGPT to break down and to create 5 podcast episodes about those restaurants, about what the guests love about that restaurant, a special dish, etc. Say where it is, the reason why people love it, and maybe add in your opinion as well about why you love it as well. And with those 5 podcast episodes, you can create something about your local town or area. You can go on to 11 Labs and you can have a voice, somebody to read it over for you. And then you've got a 5 little mini podcast series that you can send to your guests before they arrive and say, hey, we've put together this podcast series. You can listen to it on your way here, 5 minutes each, but it gives you our top 5 secret, top mint locations of local restaurants that you may want to check out. And you can substitute restaurants for things to do, for X, for Y, or for Z. And again, it's free, simple, easy to do. And just imagine that a guest is driving or flying to your location and you're sending them 5 top tips. They're going to listen to it and they're going to love it. And that guest experience will go through the roof. So this is where I pass it over to you. This is where I pass it over to yourself that's watching now. How can you utilize this? What could you create? Whatever it may be that you want to create, and go ahead and go and do it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been handy for you. If you could do me a massive favor and just share this video wherever you may be, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it, please go ahead and share it. And what I would love more than anything is that when you create your podcast, share the link in the comments and we can go have a look at it. So that is how you create a podcast from start to scratch to publish to being out there in the world in literally 10 minutes. Thank you very much. And by the way, that freestyle rap that you listened to on the way in, guess what I created that on? I bet you can't guess. It was our trusty AI. It's called Udio, udio.com. It's in beta mode. I literally went in, typed in a description, and it created for me this cool little rap.
Set it off in 10 flat, drop it, pop it now. Mark Simpson got the tools, facts, ain't no stopping now. Bruce Lee in the house, yo, we spittin' streaming sound. Tips and tactics, get your mind wrapped and get renowned. Just a quick 10, bring a beat, spit the heat. Podcast promos, make it roll, make it neat. Direct bookings, keep it money, keep it sweet. 90s vibe got me live on the street.